Hi everyone, Seth Alchemist here, and today I'm going to talk about alchemy and its origin and what does it mean and why we don't have it around as much anymore. Alchemy is the art, and mind you here I said the art, not the science like what many people say. It's the art of transmutation. Not specifically transformation, transmutation. Alchemy helps you transform, but the main goal of the alchemist is to transmute into the philosopher's stone. But where does the word alchemy come from? The word itself, alchemy. We're gonna go back all the way to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians didn't call themselves Egyptians. They called the land they lived on Chem or Chem. And Chem means the black land. So fast forward to the 8th century, when the Arabs became obsessed with alchemy and got their hands on some alchemical texts from ancient Greece and ancient Egypt, they decided to call this philosophy Al-Chem. Al in Hebrew basically means divine or God. We have Al or El or Elohim, and then Chem. So Al-Chem, alchemy, which basically means the divine black land. Ancient Greeks got all of their knowledge of alchemy from the Egyptians. They wanted to get more knowledge from them. The Egyptians shared some knowledge of alchemy and some knowledge of initiation with the Greeks, but they didn't share everything with them, which led the Greeks to take the little knowledge that they got from the Egyptians and add up their own versions and create their own versions and come up with Hermes Trismegistus, the god of wisdom and alchemy, because they associated him with Thoth. Thoth in ancient Egypt, the god of wisdom and writing and magic. Because the Egyptians had their own god, Thoth, there, the Greeks decided to create their own version of that, and they created Hermes Trismegistus. And they said that he's the god of alchemy and hermeticism. This is all good and it's all fine. We have Hermes Trismegistus or Thoth, the god of wisdom and magic. They're both the same entity, they're both the same thing. But this knowledge, we have to realize that it came from ancient Egypt. Back then, this knowledge was very secret. It was only for the initiates. And these initiates were usually very smart. They were very wise. They were not the normal people. They had to be very highly educated people, people that hold a lot of knowledge. You could not get initiated in an Egyptian temple unless you first of all fast for 40 days and have a certain level of sophistication, education, and wisdom before you get accepted to be an initiate inside a temple, and especially the temple of Thoth, where this alchemical knowledge, this hermetic knowledge, originated from to begin with. Eventually, this knowledge went from the Egyptians to the Greeks, and then from the Greeks to the Arabs. The Arabs thrived with this knowledge. From the 8th century all the way to the 13th century, we have this prominent Arab alchemist and philosopher. His name is Jabir ibn Hayyan, and he was the first person to translate from Greek the emerald tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, the tablet that mentions the phrase "as above, so below, as within, so without." He was the first to translate it from Greek to Arabic, and then after the 13th century, we have medieval Europeans who translated Jabir's version from Arabic to Latin. We have translations from Basil Valentine, we have translations from even Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was an alchemist in secrecy. Isaac Newton, which people claim that he's the father of physics, before he was the father of physics, he was an alchemist. but he was hiding it because the Inquisition and the Church were after alchemists and witches. They used to burn them at the stake and execute them and torture them because they claimed that alchemy was against the word of God. Witches in medieval times were also alchemists, but they were plant alchemists, medicinal alchemists, because anything that requires you to mix herbs and plants and experiment with things together and transform one substance to the other or one plant to get the essence of it, that's alchemy. To get the essence, the elixir from one plant, for example, we have alcohol. Alcohol, that's getting the spirit of a certain grape or fruit to get the wine. You get the spirit for it. That's why alcohol is called spirit. That comes from alchemy. So there were many prominent alchemists all the way from the 13th century to the 18th century. We have Paracelsus, we have John Dee, we have Basil Valentine, we have Nicolas Flamel, and many, many others. Isaac Newton, of course. All of these people changed the course of science. Paracelsus ended up creating drugs and cures for many diseases for the first time because of alchemy. But this alchemy throughout the years, and if we fast forward to our modern day and age, unfortunately became science, and chemistry, it kind of lost what it was. And the reason why I don't want to even label it as the new science that we have nowadays, maybe it was the origin of the science, but the difference between our science nowadays and alchemy back then is that alchemists treated their experiments as rituals. They used to put their soul in everything they did. Their experiments depended on their energy. For example, there are alchemists who claimed that they transformed lead into gold and others couldn't. But it is believed that the ones who were able to do it, it wasn't just because they had the right recipe or the right formula, it's also because of their energy, because of their spirit, because of the kind of spirit they put in the experimentation. This is something that unfortunately science lacks nowadays. There is no such thing in science. In science, it's just what's the formula, and you as a human being, your body, your soul, what makes you who you are is not part of your work. It's only your mind is involved, but your spirit is not involved. In alchemy, your spirit had to be involved. If it was not involved, it was not alchemy. And that's why we have the concept of salt, sulfur, and mercury, corpus, animus, and spiritus, body, mind, and spirit. There's three elements, the three elements of mastery. Without them, you can't get the Philosopher's Stone. You can't accomplish the magnum opus, the grand work that makes you the master of who you truly are. Nowadays, science is lacking the spiritus element, the mercury, the thing that, the energy that goes in the work. It's lacking that. It's not in there. That's why there's a very thin line between alchemy and magic. Alchemy can be perceived as magic because if you put in the right elements and if you know how to use the corpus, animus, and spiritus all together in harmony, perfectly balanced, if you can use that in your experimentation to transmute lead into gold, for example, or to find your higher divine calling, which is your Philosopher's Stone. If you know how to do that properly, you will succeed. And that's why nowadays we end up with something called technology. It's dead, it's soulless, it's not alive, because it's lacking one element, which is the spirit, the spiritus. Unfortunately, alchemy died. It became eventually chemistry and science, and it translated to medicinal drugs, and the magic of alchemy stopped existing. I wish it continued, because if it did, then our science would be so much different. It would fuse the elements of nature, and we would have something similar to what the Atlanteans used to have before the sinking of Atlantis, when Atlantis was flourishing. But I do believe that the alchemical knowledge have survived throughout the ages. Alchemy uses imagery, symbols. It uses coded messages to transfer the message. And I believe that this ancient knowledge has been transferred. We have tarot, one of my favorite tools. It's full of alchemical imagery, and it still exists nowadays. We have the language of the birds. We have many of these alchemists who did their best to transfer this knowledge in images, in art. It's basically, that's why it's called the art of transformation or the art of transmutation. And art survives forever. That's why tarot is surviving forever. I'm gonna share with you in upcoming videos the meaning of these symbols and these imagery, because it can help unlock your subconscious mind and awaken who you truly are, so you can embark on your transformational journey as well. The Fool's Journey, which is a major arcana card, the Fool embarks on his or her journey to becoming the master. So alchemy is one initiation tool or philosophy or art that can help us throughout this journey or throughout this process. It's not for everyone, but if this resonates with you and you think that you're drawn to alchemy, stay tuned for more upcoming videos about alchemy, because I'm gonna elaborate more and more about what's alchemy and how to use it to become your own philosopher's stone. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next video.